guess I could get back to work.
Are you back posting a lot? I see.
Not a lot. I need to, and I'm excited about it. I will say that, like...
And I know it feels, because I know how crazy it felt to me, that there was some sort of toxicity.
I never signed up to make that movie. I wanted to make a fun movie about this kid I love named David Dobrik and his success. It's not to hate at people based on their actions or their politics or who they choose as their god, but it's to hate them because of who they are. Relationships and the intimacy level I have with the characters involved, it left me feeling strange.
Views, yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got I got married. So basically, I was in the car.
No.
Natalie.
No.
Please.
Get her. No.
Yes.
No, David.
We're going. We're going.
Casey Neistat opens up. Casey Neistat recently opened up about his documentary on David Dobrik in a candid conversation with Jeff Wittek, shedding light on why the documentary has yet to be released to the public. During the interview, Casey mentioned that he wasn't intentionally hiding the documentary, but was waiting for the right distribution opportunity, expressing reluctance to simply release it on his own YouTube channel.
You know, back in the golden years, and now look at you. How old are you?
42.
42, and you're in your now your new physical prime.
I think all this YouTube stuff is going to die out and cable TV is going to make a comeback? No, Jeff, I don't.
Documentary be seen. And look, it's not like I'm trying to protect him. I think there's a lot of truth in that movie.
He acknowledged the mixed reaction from viewers, with some urging him to release the documentary sooner rather than later. Despite not receiving the best response during the Jeff FM interview, Casey addressed the topic once again in a recent episode of Impulsive, hosted by Logan Paul. This time, he delved even deeper into his feelings about the documentary and the challenges surrounding its release. Casey emphasized his reservations about putting the documentary on his personal YouTube channel, expressing a sense of discomfort. He alluded to the complexity of his emotions, not just towards the documentary, but also regarding his relationship with David Dobrik. Despite facing pressure to release the documentary, Casey revealed that he was hesitant and conflicted about making it public.
Because I was like, yeah, I got Casey on the podcast next week to Mike, and he's like, oh shit, I'm in New York, I'm going to get Casey on the podcast. I'm like, you better not fucking put it out before me.
That was a perfect place to distribute it, and it fell apart at the 9th hour because of political reasons. I believe because of political reasons that had nothing to do with me.
And teaching Jonah to keep his weapon aim down. We had to pick our captain.
Why does Natalie get to be captain?
Because she's a girl.
In the interview, Casey discussed the various distribution opportunities that came and went, highlighting a recent setback due to political reasons involving a key individual being fired at the last minute. This unforeseen circumstance, he believes, contributed to the documentary's delayed release. Furthermore, Casey shared that part of him doesn't want to release the documentary at all. He admitted to using external factors as excuses for the delay, but acknowledged that deep down he might be grappling with internal conflicts. Despite having a YouTube channel with millions of viewers, Casey admitted feeling weird about sharing the documentary, especially considering its impact on his friendship with David Dobrik. The documentary apparently played a role in straining their friendship, with Casey indicating that he had not spoken to David much since its creation. Casey explained that the documentary presented an honest view of the events, but it didn't align with certain expectations, potentially causing further strain in their relationship.
And it was basically I went out and bought a frat house because none of my friends ever went to college or me.
And he thought, or you thought, that I was making fun of the apology video. But I was just doing my normal stupid shit that I do.
No.
Natalie.
No.
Please.
Get her. No.
Yes.
No, David.
We're going. We're going.
In the interview, Casey shared his conflicted feelings about the impact the documentary had on his friendship with David Dobrik, acknowledging that the honest portrayal of events may not have aligned with David's expectations. Despite his initial goal of providing a platform for both sides to share their truths, Casey revealed that the documentary led to a rift in their relationship. Ultimately, Casey Neistat's interview on Impulsive provides insight into the internal struggles and external challenges surrounding the release of his documentary on David Dobrik, the complex emotions tied to the project, and its impact on personal relationships add layers of nuance to the decision-making process, leaving fans eagerly awaiting the day when the documentary will finally see the light of day. Casey Neistat's documentary dilemma. Casey Neistat delved deeper into the unexpected turn that his documentary on David Dobrik took during a recent interview, expressing his initial intention to follow David's rise to fame rather than creating a documentary that steered his career in a different direction. In this candid conversation, Casey revealed that he never signed up to make a documentary that veered into the more controversial aspects of David's career. He had initially envisioned a fun exploration of David's success and journey. However, as events unfolded, Casey felt a sense of obligation to tell the story as truthfully as possible, even though it wasn't the narrative he initially intended to capture.
Finding some shape and some structure, but if you remember when we were coming up, it's like no one's looking over our shoulder.
Store to Chipotle, out the street to events. It'd be just like that'd just be the center hub of the entire show.
I said and did things that were really offensive, and I called them bad jokes, and I can't even call them bad jokes. And
the documentary took a turn towards more serious subject matter, addressing the controversies surrounding David Dobrik, including issues involving victims. Casey acknowledged the horror he felt about the turn of events and emphasized his commitment to portraying the truth. Despite finishing the documentary, Casey shared that only a few people have seen it, and he grapples with guilt over not releasing it to the public. He expressed communication with the victims, highlighting that for those individuals, the story no longer makes them feel invisible. However, the absence of a public release prevents the broader audience from understanding their experiences. Casey admitted feeling conflicted about being the one holding on to the documentary, acknowledging his surprise at continuing with the project despite facing numerous challenges. He reflected on the personal relationship and intimacy he shares with the individuals involved, which added to his unease.
Logan Paul, I think, is the ultimate example of this. How do you come back from Logan Paul's fall from grace when he was this goofball vlogger? He's seen the movie, of course.
Do you know his thoughts about the movie, the portrayal?
I think that's probably a better question for him to answer than
Views?
Views, yeah. This is a good one. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got married. So basically, I was in the car.
In an introspective moment, Casey revealed a sense of shame in admitting that he never signed up for the type of documentary that unfolded. He reiterated his original intention to create a positive and enjoyable film about David's success. The unexpected turn left him questioning his role as an arbiter and emphasized his discomfort in holding on to such a significant story. Addressing the victims, Casey recognized their status as the true victims in the story, differentiating them from individuals like David Dobrik and Natalie. However, he expressed his regret at not releasing the documentary sooner due to personal insecurities.
I don't know.
Wherever
I said we could share an ambulance.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
give a fuck.
And I said, wherever you're going right now, I'm down to go to too.
Discovering David Dobrik, and the only thing they're discovering there is that David's gay.
David was your test subject. Have you been in contact with him since the filming, the last interview?
Despite the internal conflicts, Casey shared that he dreams of the documentary being released eventually, but through a third party, distancing himself from the direct responsibility of sharing it on his own platform. He expressed a desire to collaborate with a news station for the release, indicating a readiness for the documentary to be made public. Navigating release, finance, and emotional nuances. Casey Neistat discussed his willingness to release the documentary on David Dobrik during an interview, addressing the potential financial considerations and expressing a desire to hand it over to a news outlet or streamer. He emphasized that finance was not an obstacle and openly invited news channels to contact him or his agent for a potential collaboration. The conversation unveiled Casey's eagerness to distance himself from the documentary, debunking speculations that he was awaiting a lucrative distribution deal.
And I want to apologize to her and her friends for ever putting them in an environment that I enabled.
Relationship, it might be intimacy level I have with the characters involved. It left me feeling strained.
What do you think?
Yeah, looks. Can I take the thing out now?
Yeah, of course.
Looks great.
He asserted his willingness to give it to any news outlet that wishes to stream it, seeking an arrangement that would contextualize the documentary in a way that aligns with his comfort. Despite the financial aspects seemingly being resolved, Casey delved into the deeper motivations behind his reluctance to release the documentary on his own YouTube channel. He expressed a desire to detach himself from the project entirely, envisioning a scenario where the documentary becomes associated with a news channel rather than being labeled as Casey Neistat's documentary on David Dobrik.
It's not to hate people based on their actions or their politics or who they choose as their God, but it's to hate them because of who they are.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a victim. I was the one who chose to make the movie.
Yeah. Well, same with me. Like, you know, we both like to make.
I never signed up to make that movie. I wanted to make a fun movie about this kid I love named David Dobrik and his success.
The underlying sentiment suggests that Casey wishes to avoid further involvement in the narrative and potential fallout from releasing the documentary on his personal platform. Despite the strained relationship with David Dobrik, Casey seems to harbor a sense of remorse and a desire not to exacerbate the situation by being the central figure in telling this story. Casey Neistat's nuanced approach to the documentary highlights his role as an observer rather than a reporter, emphasizing that he did not break stories but rather documented the aftermath of a news article about David Dobrik.
Natalie.
One of one.
One of one. Natalie's my assistant / friend / high school homie. We dated back in high school.
I think I wanted to finish on YouTube. Like, I'm like really content with those videos, and like that's it.
And I know it feels, because I know how crazy it felt to me that there was some sort of toxicity.
The documentary aims to capture the unfolding events and the horror that Casey witnessed, maintaining a neutral stance throughout the process. The interview also hinted at potential changes to the documentary's ending, acknowledging the evolving dynamics between David Dobrik and Jeff Wittek. The initial conclusion focused on David's return to YouTube in 2021, a decision Jeff supported. However, Casey acknowledged the need for updates, considering the current state of their relationship and David's departure from YouTube. As Casey Neistat grapples with the complex emotions surrounding the documentary, the public eagerly awaits its release and wonders how this intricate story will be presented to the world.
Colombia was pretty incredible, from the people and the food to the music and the fashion.
Fucking crazy.
Because it's a complicated situation. Nobody wants to say the wrong thing.
So I could get back to work.
Are you back posting a lot? I see.
Not a lot. I need to, and I'm excited about it. I will say that, like,
The evolving narrative, financial considerations, and the desire for distance from the project underscore the multifaceted challenges faced by Casey in bringing this documentary to the public eye. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.